So sometimes that it's gonna be somebody else. Right.
I'm not sure when I call you.
Sometimes that's all you have to do. But never
Cash me outside for my test, and I stopped.
get out of the way of this thing. Oh.
Not on the screen. You don't have to say yes, they don't want to.
Oh.
Just do it.
Honey, do melons. Come on. We are, we're not waiting till 10:10 or 10:15 to start. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. We have an awesome breakfast back there. Thank you, Drew Wiles.
You're welcome.
If y'all haven't had breakfast, woo! And that man cooks.
It's good.
Thank you. She needs a little. Here we go. All right. Okay. Do y'all know what's happening on the screen? It's kind of interesting.
Neil Diamond is going up and down. It's very cool.
This, okay, here we are.
Best-selling art.
It's you know how you can take one of those time-elapsed videos and watch something speed up? So these are recording artists and, you know, who's winning based on the year, based on the quarter. So, you know, if you're really young, Dominique, do you even know who any of these people are? Okay, never mind. But most of us do. Is this not the coolest thing? I mean, it's just kind of fun.
Watch Elton John.
But, you know, I think we're going to have to get up into the later 80s and 90s before everyone can relate. But anyway, if you'd like, we can send out the link.
Yeah, that's cool.
So what is
It's kind of great. Just silence.
So what
Everybody's
is
like,
that? Records sold or dollars?
Pete, what's the name of this?
YouTube.
Oh,
That's obvious, but what else?
get over it. Come on. What is it? I mean, what's the...
It's Billboard Top 40 history. The guy that does this he does analytics for all kinds of stuff.
Is it record sales? Is it
Yes,
dollars?
record sales per day, right? Sorted by quarter. So
Up until today. So does he do it for house sales?
I know.
That's pretty good.
was because whatever the tools are that he's using, I said, well, if I take that and use it for house sales,
Yeah.
then that would be kind of
For
cool,
Atlanta,
right?
that would be.
Right, and you told me you've done it for other categories besides Billboard.
We got it for movies and all kinds of stuff.
All right.
And then it gets into the 90s and I have no
Hey,
idea.
Laura, look, we saved that. All right, all right. Good deal.
I don't mind.
All right, we can stop, Allison. We can stop this, and we've got some great things in store today. I have Becky Wynn Evans, mother of Vivian, as my trusty assistant. Yes, and so the ALC is at Lake Oconee, and they'll be back tomorrow. So that's where Brad is, and so we are going to talk about, kind of focus on skills and resources, and I hope you're going to go, wow, we've, you know, I learned a bunch of stuff in sales meeting today. So, where's Pete? Pete? All right. First, we're going to have an audience participation activity. Focusing on skills, we're going to, what do you want? Okay. We're going to pass out a few sticky notes. Just a few pages per person. And pens, and Becky's going to do some. Yep, perfect. And if you don't have pens, we have more pens. Hi, Michelle. So I want you to tell me, and you can use, I've got 3 questions, and I'd like for you to do them on separate stickies, please. So question number 1 is, what are the critical skills that a real estate agent needs to have? And lead gen is not an answer. you know, I need you to get a little more specific, like negotiation. You know, I don't want to give you the answers, but if you just list 1, 2, 3 skills that a good agent needs to have. And when you're finished, hold your sticky up and Pete will, anybody else need pens?
Oh, okay, you want to make 3? Can you clarify that? Make 3 suggestions.
No. You can, here Michelle.
1, 2, 3. Okay, call.
Oh, raise your sticky when you're ready. Pete's gonna run around, Becky. Collect. So what skills? What skills do we need to know?
Are you looking for us, is there like a core group of ones that you want? Or are you looking
Nope,
for-
nope, I'm looking for what you think. What you think you need to know.
Pieces cut.
Okay. Now, this is just for number 2, this is just a kind of a twist on that. What skills do you know that you need to sharpen? I'm really just 1 or 2. I will tell you mine is doing CMAs. They stop me in my tracks. I've even taken the pricing specialist thing. I can do a quick CMA. And I can figure out a price to suggest, but actually doing it, I'm intimidated. I don't know why. So this is like true confessions. What do you know that you need to work on in 2020 from a skill point of view? Okay? And raise your sticky when you got it.
I did abbreviated notes.
It's okay. It's okay.
Just one.
There's your 3rd.
How many of these should we do?
As many as possible. All right. Hey, Renita. Woohoo. Yes. Yes. So second question. All right. All righty. Whee. Whoops. Yes. Okay. All right. And the third one, the second one is what you need to work on. Okay, the third one is, I'm going to just put these right here.
Are you? By now you should.
Second, number 2. What skills do you need to practice? And so this means I can't just watch it online or take the class. What skills do you need to practice?
Okay.
That's 2 more.
2? That's your 3rd one? Am I correct?
2. Okay, so the practicing, you might need another agent, you might need a group, you might need
None of the above.
something.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
All right.
Here's 4.
Now,
Here's 4.
Where did that
these are all 3.
They're not saying.
Okay, now, what we are doing, you know, as assistant team leader, I work on, in addition to Ignite, just training, the calendar, what all we do from a training point of view. And I want to know what you need. And I also have, I'm just running out of space. Can you put it on mine? Oh my Lord. Okay, so Becky. Tell me about your friend Amisha Mason and what sort of, I think these are 3s.
I get 4 now?
What do you practice? What skills do you practice? How often? you know, because I think this is a talking profession. We talk to people. Sometimes we don't want to, but we have to. So, do you, when you first got in the business, did you know exactly what to say all the time?
Definitely not. I think that, part of it goes to what aspect you're specifically referring to from a practice perspective. So I think as a new agent, focus is practicing your listing presentations, practicing your buyer's consultations. When my team has grown, last year we finally grew, so we added, so we have 3 buyer's agents on the team. And so all my buyer's agents had to go out and to their sphere and do buyer's consultations for their sphere. So they did it for anywhere from 3 to 8 people. Some were more achievement oriented and did a lot more. And so they practiced it, and I would call whoever that they actually did their presentation to ask for feedback regarding how well my agents did as well.
Okay. Taskmaster. But that's the way
But I think that's
the leader of a
that's the way.
team should be
You
successful.
go on enough appointments that you're comfortable, and you're literally, because in that process, if you're a new agent, you're having to do the comps when you're meeting with the seller, right? To be able to do that side of the presentation, so you're getting a little bit more practice from that perspective. If you're a buyer, you're also prepping for that appointment, trying to understand what that market looks like. So you're also then reviewing the stats of the market so that you can have a strong conversation, with the buyer or the seller from a market perspective as well. So I think that new agents, that would be a great practice, is going out to people that really are fans of yours, that
Right.
want to see you
Friendly
succeed.
audience.
Exactly, and allow for them, set expectations, give me any objection handling that they may have, give you at least 3 objections, and then let you win on the 4th one, because you obviously don't want to feel defeated in that process. But you also want them to be realistic and help you grow in those conversations as well. So
I think I heard you say, with the objections, encourage them to actually object, actually give you
ask
some
questions
pushback.
and-
Questions are don't just sign on the dotted line the first time, but by the 4th, let you win
Yeah.
the experience. Right. Yes, Bill.
That's a phenomenal tool, Becky. That's awesome for both listing and
Buyer consult.
consultations. That's not anything that is done in Ignite formally, is it?
No, and that's where I'm sort of fishing with
That would be a
this to
cool thing
see,
to do.
because this is not in a classroom setting. It's I don't know. So I'm trying to see if I can get some traction with folks that will participate.
Or they can
in this
just-
sort of
in
thing.
Ignite, if you have 10 people, you have 9 possible buyers or sellers you can do presentations for as well.
Okay, can I see a show of hands? This isn't a commitment of people that would see value in doing these a practice buyer consult practice listing. Okay, it's not a commitment. Don't worry. Okay, thank you. All right, good deal. So what? Oh, question, Michelle.
Really quick, in training new agents, that's the biggest thing that I see is that they don't know how to do a listing presentation or a buyer presentation. So in my past, that's what I've taught them. They actually have to show up. I send them the template, they put it together, and they actually have to show up, and no one ever knows who's gonna present. And so what happens is the other agents will give them feedback on how they did, and they receive it, and then they constantly do it. So I think that it's
So
definitely-
everybody comes prepared, and then you pick one.
You pick one person to be the listing agent, or maybe I'll be the seller, and
Right.
they're the listing agent, and then we go through it. They have to present it, and then we also videotape it so they can see how they did.
Oh my gosh, but we can do that. Y'all, we can, if you work with me, we can do it. Because, speak to that.
In
Jean?
Bold, you do listing presentations, so I think that's one of the big things to walk away with from Bold is all the practice you get with doing listing presentations.
And the buyer's consultation.
And the
we
buyer
did as well.
consultation, yeah.
And so for my team, they actually, last year, the entire team did Bold together. And that was like 1.0 though. And that's the presentation that they all learned and really internalized. And then, you know, like going back to the MREA book, before you can be creative, you have to have your foundation. So even if it doesn't sound like you, it doesn't feel like you, it at least gives you your foundation so that when you are taken off guard by a seller or a buyer, you can bring that foundation in so at least you still sound like the expert, even if it's not who you are. So the team learned the buyer's consultation 100% verbatim, and you know they obviously practiced and then they presented to me as well. So, but that's
Okay,
a great
again.
start point.
Tough boss. Okay, but who's number
It's
one?
not tough. It's called standards.
Standards. Love it. And I think I heard this at an ALC retreat years ago. Amateurs practice until they get it right. Professionals practice until they can't get it wrong.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I didn't make that up. I can't tell you who originally coined that. Oh, and it just sounds dreadful, but you know, we got in this business to be successful, right? Not to be mediocre. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna, how about, Pete, did you glance at any of these before we drop the screen down?
You didn't tell them we had to be able to read it.
Right,
Oh,
that was,
details.
Stacy, here's,
Okay. Because I'm going to synthesize this, and I will report back at next sales meeting. Here we go. Thank you for labeling,
Whoever
Bob.
put money management systems, I think that's awesome. That's probably the only thing that nobody else duplicated up there that I think so many of us forget about is such an important skill in what we're doing is money management systems.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who did, but I
three
wanted to
guesses.
Say that.
say that.
All right. So I'm gonna look for the patterns and
Good job. You're
see what is all this.
Listening.
He's trying to.
Listening. Woo. How about I want to speak to, this is a skill, yeah, so they're all about listening to your clients. Can you give any, like you're either on the phone, Becky, or with a client, or you're in a consult, and there's the struggle between, okay, I got all this stuff I need to tell them, but they're talking, oh gosh, you know, how do you transition, get out of your head and get into your ears?
I think something that I'm practicing right now, because listening is definitely on my list of skills to build, is asking 3 questions and keep hearing the answers before I get to make a statement. You know, along the way, a big reason that they're still talking and they don't allow for you to talk is because what you're saying isn't creating clarity for them, or what you're saying isn't really answering any of the objectives and goals that you've set for the appointment. And so by, you know, instead of stopping them to answer them or to tell them something, I take pause and I ask 3 questions so that I'm digging deeper to better understand, you know, that process.
Are these the questions like, what about blah, blah, blah are you
Can be more
concerned about?
specific. Oh, okay,
You know,
yeah.
That,
Yeah, you know, tell me more, help me understand what about that is important to you. What
right.
specifically about that are you trying to understand?
Perfect.
Would be some examples.
Perfect. So at this point, so Pete's putting them categories, and I'll give you feedback at next, kind of where it lines up. It's not a contest about which skill wins, but I wanted this feedback to guide what we plan for the Market Center over the course of the year. So if you think of something after sales meeting, you are welcome to say, oh, I forgot to say something about this. Skills set you apart from other agents. I just have to believe that everybody in here has been in a if you've been in a transaction, and your co-op agent maybe didn't seem to be as well trained, or there was a knowledge gap or a skill gap. The skilled agents win. The skilled agents get their clients' offers accepted, negotiate better for their sellers, get more repeat clients. Would you agree with this? So honing your skills, practicing your craft is, and I said skills pay the bills, Joe Nego said that's his line.
And the taxes.
And the what?
The taxes.
Oh, and the taxes, right.
The checks,
Right.
The checks are fine, but then the tax man comes.
Right. I have to tell you, I've had several agents come to me over the last 2 years and say, and they've been in tax trouble because as they were earning the money, they did not put 10, 15, 20, 25, whatever percentage in a savings account and not spend it. Let me tell you, it can happen to anyone in this room
Probably has happened to all of us.
that you have got to come up with whatever your system is. When you get your commission checks, you've got
Just go
to.
online and pay your percentage right then and there to the IRS.
Oh, that's how you do it?
No, I'm just saying.
Should have.
You have to have a process to make this online payments.
Okay.
Going back to Virginia's point is money management systems.
Yes.
That was just an example.
Right, but even if it's not paying, have an account. Have a separate account that you were transferring that money to. And, so I'm not telling you how to run your business, independent contractors. I'm just saying it is so sad when I get these stories and the hand wringing, and there have been people that have had to sell their house, liquidate, go into a rental, sell things that they bought. Please earmark your, whatever percentage your accountant says for taxes. Okay, we need our panel, which is, so we're going to have some situational, tricky situations. So I've got Michelle Pleasant and Katie Nelson. Now, do I need to say Katie McKenzie Nelson?
Either way is fine.
Bob Fasella and Eddie New. So we are gonna
That's it.
Eddie Levin. Okay, Eddie New was my Young Life leader in high school. So it just rolls off the tongue. So umpteen times I
got a new name.
referring to him as Eddie New.
I got a new name.
Whoa!
Now she's trying to kill me. This must be Brad's because it's
So
like
what's he
leaning
doing
way
now?
forward.
Yes.
What's
All
he
right.
doing now?
What these are successful agents, and I'm also so Becky and I are going to pose some of the most either awkward or challenging, difficult situations or questions that real estate agents encounter, and how do you handle it? And as I invited them to this panel, I indicated I want you to stay in solution. And so this isn't, what, you idiot? Stay in solution and keep the transaction moving towards the finish line. So that, with that being your objective.
Which it should always be your objective.
Right. So how would you handle, so Becky, pick one, any of them, and pick a recipient, your choice.
buyers want to ask for everything on the inspection report. Bob Fasella.
All right, let's do it.
Good luck.
Well, I'd start out by saying, remember when we sat down and talked about purchasing a house that we're going to make an offer, and if that offer gets accepted, then we'll go through an inspection period, and we're going to concentrate on some of the things that we don't know exist. We're not going to concentrate on cosmetic things. We're only going to concentrate on the bigger things. And as a great line that my good friend Virginia Moran gave me is, when you get an inspection report, this is your 5-year to-do list. So we're going to concentrate.
Ding, did everybody hear that? Oh, that's awesome.
We're going to concentrate on the safety things and the bigger items, and then the rest becomes your to-do list.
So what did Bob say that was probably the most powerful thing that I think everybody should walk away with in all your conversations?
When we met together before.
Exactly.
Yeah, remember that.
Expectation. And I think agents don't do that sometimes, and I always say, CETO, come to the office and do your buyer consultation and really let them know what to expect when they're going through the buyer process, as well as when they do get the inspection. Because like Bob said, the biggest thing is, let's focus on the major items. The cosmetics things, we can refer someone to you and we can get a quote so that you know how much it's gonna cost to do those things over the next few years. And you also have to prepare them that when buying a house, you have to have money saved, especially if it's not a new house, to be able to put that money back into their home.
Thank you. All right, Katie. The week before closing, buyer just flat out gets cold feet and doesn't want to buy the house. All the contingencies are already expired. What would you say to him or her or them?
I would refer them back to their big whys. Why are they moving? Remind them of the goals that we discussed in the buyer consult initially. You know, what are the reasons, your motivations for moving? Remember, you know, you wanted to get your child into this school district and you wanted to do this, you want to move to this location for travel to work, you know, etc. Help them, because a lot of times it's just emotional and it's not fact-based, and it may be, there's probably something underlying going on. They're just stressed. And so if you can listen to what is wrong, and as well as reminding them, here's your motivation.
And tying into what Becky was saying about listening, when you said it might just be emotional, asking questions, tell me
draw
what
them
about
out.
that. Yeah, draw out.
Yeah.
Understand, like, what is the change? What caused them to make such a big decision change first before, you know, being able to say, this was your goal? Because what if something dramatic happened and the goal completely changed? And sometimes the referencing causes them to have a bigger breakdown because there's a disconnect in what happened.
So ask you more questions first, and then remind them.
And understand, truly understanding like what that change is. You know, that caused.
You gotta
that
sometimes
emotion.
put yourself in their shoes too. Like if this is their first time ever buying a house, and all of a sudden they went through the inspection report or they did that, something's overwhelming them. You know, you gotta listen and ask those questions. What changed? What happened? What's going on? You know, how can I help? Because our ultimate goal is for you to be happy, and everything we've said and when we've looked through houses, this is met, whether it's 80% or 90%. So what has changed? You know, is it job? Is it relationship? What is it?
Okay.
To
I
find
want to
out.
hear what Bill had to say, and then I have
I mean, I think you need
Another-
to acknowledge to that buyer, and it's not a bad idea, like Bob said early on in your consultation, to address it, but even if they're not showing it, I would say virtually all buyers have some form of built-in remorse immediately after making a decision.
Yeah.
And to let them know that this is a natural feeling, because it is such a big decision, and that you're not alone. You just need to control this, and then you ground it back to the big why. And but to acknowledge that what they're feeling is not unusual.
Yeah, I would laugh at them and say, welcome to the Buyer's Remorse Club. every buyer goes
That's
through
what we
it.
do when they pick
Bob
you.
can
is
do
remorse.
that. You know,
All right.
I think it's also important, like,
Have you
going
tell them
back
this
to
is normal,
expectations.
every buyer does
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
do you do pulse checks along with your clients? Like, for us, before, you know,
Love it.
24 hours
Pulse
before
checks.
the end of the due diligence, even if the inspection has already been resolved, we say, going to bed tonight, tomorrow, you're gonna let us know 100% that there's no reason that this isn't the house for you. There's no reason that you're not moving forward today. Doing that pulse check so that, you know, you're actually catching them before they hit, you know, the roof, literally. It's just
Right.
right there. So then for the next phase, it's like the appraisal's here, the excitement of the appraisal, and having that conversation about like valuation. Like if it comes in at value, then it's like you're celebrating something. The constant celebrations after that pulse check is also a chance to have another pulse check with your clients along the way.
But with that said too, when you're listing, you need to remind your sellers, mow the yard. It's under contract, but you still need to mow the yard because they're driving by every day after they go grocery shopping, after they get off work,
taking
they're coming by
everything.
and looking at the house.
Yeah, because they're excited, yeah.
And it is an emotional deal.
Awesome, Virginia.
It's really good, particularly, and this is the communication skills that I'm sure up there, particularly with buyers, but with buyers and sellers, to keep in close contact with them through that contract period. You're not finished because you're under contract. You can, I always end every email, if you have any questions or concerns, let me know right away. Because things build, or they hear something at the office, some horror story, and you don't know why they went off the tracks, but they did. But if you'd have been in closer touch, you could have prevented it.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
like our team, we have it blocked out that every week on the same day, we check in with our buyers, regardless of the process, just to say, where are you at? Do you need anything? Especially when you have longer closings, when you have a 45-day closing. To me, that feels like a long closing, but you think about it, you have a 2-week gap to 3-week gap, depending on your lender, where nothing is happening. Everything should be done off the list. So it's that check-in, like, just wanted to check in with you. How's the packing going? So, you know, time management was somebody else's statement up there is like, every week, check in with your buyers on the same day. Every Monday, I'm gonna check in with you just to do a pulse check. Every Tuesday, check in with your sellers, do a pulse check. You know, and just put that in your system for that perspective.
All right. I don't know if you can read it. You want to pick another one? Like,
Final walkthrough the day before closing, all of the seller's belongings have not yet been removed.
Just been there, okay?
okay, so we're looking for the solution. Eddie.
Actually, this happened on my last closing. So we're walking through, and my clients were like, "Why is this here? Why is this here? Why is this here?" So basically, I said, "Well, the first thing we're going to do is let's walk through, make sure that there's no damage to the house, because not everything was out. There was some stuff was out." We walked through and made sure. I said, "So this is just a few items. There's no damage. Let me get on the phone with the agent and find out what's going on," because as again, we have to know what, you know, did a truck break down? What's the reasoning and what is their time frame? I mean, they still had 24 hours plus till closing, and you had to remind that to your, you know, like, look, yes, you know, they need to have other stuff out, but we're not closing for another 24 hours, you know, so they have time. They could have somebody coming tonight. So while while they're at their house, they're walking through and talking about this. I pick up, you know, they see you picking up the phone, calling the other agent. Hopefully the other agent responds. And it turned out that they had a flat tire on their truck. So it was something very simple. They had made arrangements. They were getting the stuff. Everything would be out. You know, she said, you know, we're not closing till 2. Come back tomorrow morning. The cleaners are coming at 8. Everything. So I went back to my clients. They just got off the phone. This is what happened. So now there are situations where the agent's like, well, I thought everything was out. I got to call the owner. You know, and then you're in a different situation. You know,
thank you.
You got to go, again, make plans. If you're closing at 2, you go at 12 and make sure everything's out. Because if it's not out, then you have a situation, and then that's when you talk with your client and say, these are our options. A, we can tell them we're not going to close until everything's out and clean. B, we go ahead and close and tell them they have till whatever time. C, which I've done, is tell the agent, look, you got to put $500 aside in escrow for a dumpster and people to move it, because your clients didn't get the stuff out. And as soon as you hit an agent, just like we all know in our pocket, for some reason,
Yeah.
things start happening. So you have to listen to both sides. Some agents don't know, and some others do, and you got to work through it. It goes back to the main skill everybody said, listening, and you got to ask the right questions.
So I love, Eddie, you didn't say this specifically, but probably in your buyer consult, you went ahead and prepared your buyers for what the final walkthrough is going to be like in an occupied home. It may not be pristine 24 hours before, so that they're not just shocked about that. And you hit on the fact that sometimes it can be an easy, quick resolution. Your co-op agent is on it, and sometimes not. So, but I like everything you said led to resolution. And even, well, okay.
Stacy, I
Yes,
have something
Gigi.
funny.
Lay it on me.
Yeah, I had a seller, and she was a single mom with 2 girls, and she left to Miami, and everything was okay, and everything was organized, but I didn't check the last day when she left. So when the other came over, when the other agent came with the client, and it was like 12 hours before the closing, he called me absolutely super angry, and he said, there is a mattress in the garage. If you don't remove the mattress, we are not closing. Okay, I said,
Hear
what?
these kind of stuff all the time.
It was late at night, like 8 o'clock, it was pouring, so it was raining like hell. So I pick up the phone, call someone, and I said, get the truck, go to wherever, pick up that mattress, and do whatever it takes. I pay you from my pocket. And of course, my client, she didn't even know. And I mean, I have to make this, to make it up.
But you solved it.
Of course, because if not, we were no closing. And my client was in Miami.
Well,
So,
Right.
the other biggest thing is if you're representing the seller, you as the listing agent, you should go over to that house the week before you close and the day before you close to make sure that everything has been completed. That's just like your inspection repairs. I actually go over with my client, the seller, and make sure those repairs have been done. I have them walk me through those things. Because at the end of the day, it's our responsibility to make sure that our clients have done what they needed to do. So as a listing agent, you should be going over to that house the day before to make sure stuff is done.
Yeah.
And if it's not, you need to be on the phone with your client. And honestly, they should be getting those things done, but if they can't, I've been in a situation where I've had to make it happen.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You also if you're leaving the washer and dryer, or you're leaving the refrigerator, and they have movers coming, or you're leaving the freezer that's in the garage, put a note on there, do not move, because
Yeah, movers make
Yeah,
mistakes.
that's
They
happened.
take
I had-
everything.
everybody's rushing. I had a situation where the washer and dryer left, and
Then somebody's buying a new set.
right, and they were like, "Where's the washer and dryer?" And I said, "Finding out." Called the owner, and they said, "Oh, it got put on the truck." I said, "Well, we got 2 choices. You can write a check or get it back." And the truck was halfway to, I think it was Arizona. So they bought. So they, then they call me and they goes, "Well, there's a scratch and dent." I'm like, "You can't just go buy the cheapest thing." And they don't understand that because they're stressed, because they're moving and they're feeling. And I was like, "You have to go buy a light kind." And they ended up, So finally, he's like, ask him if I can just give him a check, if we can do $1,000, whatever. And they ended up just, having to
They
buy
worked
them.
it out, but so if they had done what Michelle said, if the listing agent had taken ownership of that detail,
Yeah, also
Okay.
something funny.
One thing,
Tell the
just as
seller.
an agent, don't act as out of your capacity, because you don't want to sign off on repairs that the seller did, because you might be misleading the seller thinking that the repairs are properly done, and you're good, and then the buyer's agent comes back and tells you it's not, and now you've already told your sellers that it's okay, like you've approved the repairs.
So I don't
that was-
approve
yeah.
the repairs. I do
Sorry.
walk through with
Yeah.
them to make sure that they have completed everything that they have said that they're gonna do. So I don't necessarily sign off, because most of the time, buyer's agents will come back and have an inspector re-inspect. So I just go through it with them, get the receipts, and make sure it has been complete. But again, I don't go and say, these repairs are approved.
Yeah,
It's
just wanted to
important-
clarify,
Yeah,
because
no.
I didn't doubt it.
It's important before you do final walkthrough to communicate a lot. Both agents should be communicating and have a timeline and know,
Love
okay,
this.
here's when the cleaners are coming, some people, do move out on the day of closing. So sometimes it's a literal overlap on the day of. So knowing that at least a few days in advance, communicating both agents, so that you know the plan. I've had people where they came and cleaned while we were at closing. I mean, there's always a solution, but just knowing in advance what's coming, what's happening,
Beautiful.
and just communicating a lot.
And a key to do that as well as the buyer's agent, and even as a listing agent, even though it's like makes your job a little bit harder, is set a timeline for that. Like, I don't know how many amendment to address concerns that I get where an agent never says, these repairs shall be done X number of days prior to closing.
Yeah.
Because if it's
Provide
not, the
receipts.
seller has
Yeah.
until the day of closing to get
Right.
that addressed. And what if you're not happy? So
Yeah,
you've already
Lynn
set
LaCroix
the
always,
expectations to
anything
not.
you ask, you have to say when it has to be done by.
Should it be 3 days, 7 days?
I
I've seen
do
even
7 days because I
five.
need the time frame to get the inspector in to do the things that they'll inspect, and then, because
Yeah, for
majority
items
of the
that
time
need to be
agents aren't
re-inspected.
even on time with the repairs specifically.
Yeah.
So if you push that too close, they're gonna keep pushing it. So there's a little
Build a buffer.
flexibility in that. So I do 7 days, and I've never had another agent not agree to the 7 days.
On this point of all this closing type stuff, if you're using a contract to close coordinator, either a staff person or a service, does that make any difference in what you as the agents take ownership of?
Yeah, because I still follow up, because ultimately it's your responsibility. I have a contract to close person, and they send updates of when certain contingencies are about to expire. But I'm very big on communication. A lot of agents don't do that. And really, that's what gets the deal to the closing table, is how both agents start off in the beginning. Do you all communicate when you send an offer? Hey, this is Michelle. Just wanted to let you know I'm sending over an offer. Here's why we made this offer. Let me tell you a little bit about my client. I look forward to us working together to get both of our clients to the closing table. So it's really about the communication piece. So regardless of if I have a contract to close person, I'm still following up, because what if they accidentally forget something or they have to go out of town? Some agents have contract to close agents, and they don't even know how to run their back office.
Thank you. Anybody else want to speak to that? Because I know plenty of us, and I've used contract to close, but when I get calls and Brad gets calls, if ever they're unhappy clients, and I reach out to the agent, oh, well, my contract to close person, and I'm like, your job.
You're still responsible because you're the one that signed it.
Right. Okay. Last question. Okay. You're the listing agent. I'll say Bob. You're the listing agent, and your listing's been on the market a month. Shock. And an offer comes in, first one, but it's 20% below.
What's happening right now?
Below your list price. Your client just gets all huffy and says, we're not even gonna respond to that. So, along the lines of not letting the ball die on your side of the net, how would you counsel your client?
Well, my favorite movie is The Godfather, and I like to steal a line from that.
Go for it.
It's not personal, it's just business.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's just business. We just counter it. First of all, every offer gets countered. It might be I can't remember not countering an offer. Let's throw it. It might not come off very much.
Or it might be full price.
It might be full price. but let's at least put the ball back in their court and let them know we've responded.
In this, when I'm sitting with sellers, that's one thing I go over, because what the process is, and remind them again that time is of essence. But I always say, even if it's the stupidest offer in the world, you got to respond, because you don't know how it's going to turn out. So, because there's people out there that see that it's been on the market for X number of days, and they think that you're in a mess. So they're going to come in really low, and they may really like the house. So we always counter, because we just don't know where it's going to turn out. Even if we go back at full price, like you said, or we only offer, $1,000 off or whatever it is, but at least you get it open. Then if they come back again with a really bad counter, we can just say, you know what, this is not for us. And then let it be, because if they really want the house, they're going to come back and make another offer. And I do that, and I go over that during our meeting, because that's one of the most stressful times, is when the first time, if they haven't sold a house in a long time, or they read everything about how the market is and how we're supposed to get it at full price, and it's supposed to be, well, they always talk about the good, and you got to explain to them that that's really not reality. They're pulling one little tidbit, and this is how the process is going to work. And if you let them know up front that and I told them, and there are agents out there who just makes offers without even going, and the first thing I do is I call the agent, have you seen it? And if they say no, I'm like, well, we're not doing blind offers.
Yeah. What do you do on the flip side? They're 30 days in, no offers, and you know what I mean? How do you keep your seller happy? How do you?
What would you think is conventional wisdom of? Now we're not talking luxury, so
yeah,
because that could easily be the case. No offers, 30 days. What's the answer?
Price
why?
reduced. Always, okay. But what if you've done that? Not always. Does it depend on the market and how quickly it's moving? The feedback.
What's happening in the market?
I know. And you call everybody that's shown it.
If you make a note, like when I have a seller, every Tuesday I say, look, I'm calling you every Tuesday between 11 and 1. Just to give you an update, and that gives me a day if they did have showings over the weekend to filter through the information. And if you're in constant contact with your sellers, that makes that price reduction or change, or could be paint color. I had a client that literally, the price was right. All the feedback was that it's so outdated. All I needed was a coat of paint. Finally, I said, look, we can lower it by $5,000, or you can pay somebody $1,000 to come in and paint this place, and let's see what happens. And they started thinking, and they painted it. It wasn't even $1,000, and we had an offer within like 2 weeks. So it's not always the price. It could be something as simple as carpet. It could be carpet. It could be paint. It could be they haven't cut the grass. They haven't trimmed the trees. So but if you're in constant, if you keep in touch with your client, possibly more than once a week, but it makes that whole conversation, and it makes your professionalism when you say, you know what, we've done this, we've done this, we've done this, it's price, or we've done this, it's the roof, whatever it is, and then it doesn't, the shock's not as painful, I guess is the best way to put it.
Did that help?
And one thing that Becky said, your budget, have you as the listing agent put money into your budget for photos, not with your phone, because that really does make an impact. I do not show, if the pictures don't look good, I don't even send it to my client.
Photos.
And once you update them, it totally makes a difference. Those agents are going to show that property. So make sure that you're putting money away in your budget, whether it's $200, $300, or put money off of each closing to make sure that you have professional photos for the listing. I can tell you that I did it one time. I was waiting on the professional photos. I did not get showings for about 7 days. As soon as I updated those photos, we started getting phone calls. We went under contract within 3 days.
I tell my clients I won't list without the professional photos.
Right. Yeah.
So the minute I have those back, I'm happy to put you online. But online presence is the first thing that people see, and they're either going to look through those first 3 to 5 photos and move on, or they're going to be like, I like this one, let me keep looking. So the photos are everything.
Thank you. Did you want to say something, Bill?
Yeah, the photo, just to I always use professional photographs. I don't care if it's $100,000.
Yeah,
Exactly, yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
We'll do virtual staging too, which I think is not the best, but it's better than nothing. But the whole thing about when you got the 30 days and you haven't had any satisfaction as far as offers, but you've had showings, or maybe no showings, when I make that call, and I like yours, Eddie, I'm gonna change mine to Tuesdays. I've been usually doing it on Monday.
Yeah, I need it, dude.
But I typically, on a regular basis, will ping some of the competing listing agents that have listings, and I try to gauge what kind of activity they've had. I may even ask them if a particular agent showed their house, just to get a feel that showed mine. And when you go back to talk to the seller, to have that, then you just pick up little ditties and bits and pieces of information that's very helpful, that establishes that you're not just waiting for somebody to go show it. And you can invite those agents that you call to come preview your listing and offer to preview theirs and do it, and that always helps.
And the biggest value you get out of those conversations is getting to tell your client what you've actually done.
Yeah,
One-
but what have you done for me
Yeah.
lately?
So like for
And
us,
one thing that, I'm sorry.
so for us, like on Mondays, my assistant, I used to do this too, but on Mondays, we would email the sellers, like how many showings they had and how many actually showed up, and then let them know that we're tracking down feedback. But if we already had like one or two, we'd give them a little bit of a sneak preview, but then Tuesdays would be like the day that they'd get like a full conversation of feedback, and then Thursdays is my strategy call with them. That, you know, on Thursdays, that's when we'll have conversations of whether we're doing a price reduction, whether we're going to make any changes, or is there something that's happening in the market that we need to consider and evaluate after the weekend.
Why do you do that in 2 different days? You think that's important to break it up?
You know, part of it is just that touch, like for different reasons. Like I don't like waiting until Tuesday. Come Monday, they have this like feeling of like, what happened? What happened?
Yeah.
And so I can at least delay like them knowing that we're working on it and that we haven't gotten the feedback. It's that reminder, so that's why they get that on Monday. And then Tuesday, it's like we have more information as well. And then like Thursday,
So Monday's
when I
just
kind of, yeah. So then Tuesday, and then Wednesday, my assistant or I am like calling other agents to see what's happening in the market. So then on Thursday, that conversation, a lot more in depth of like, hey, you know, maybe it is that nobody else has gone under contract. So if I have it on
else had showings
Thursday,
that week.
exactly. So the status changes. Most statuses will change if something went under contract over the weekend by Wednesday. So then at least by Thursday, I can at least say nothing else is showing under contract. Based on my conversations, it's been slow. So this may not be a pricing thing, but was there something in our previous weeks that we need to adjust before the market picks back up again?
And agents, when you do go under contract with your properties, please make sure that you put them as under contract. And if you're accepting backup offers, just put in the note, backup offers are being accepted. Or if it's still active, still put it in there, put under contract, we're accepting backup offers.
Well, the new listing status is great. Active
Yeah.
under contract is fantastic.
Well, a lot of
Like
people
that.
don't.
Oh, absolutely.
Some people don't.
For
do
due
that.
I'm
diligence
bad about it.
period.
It takes me
Well,
about 3 days
I-
because I had, last year, I had 5 properties go under contract in 24 hours, the buyers terminated.
Yeah.
So me not changing it immediately gave me at least, like, if the agent calls, I'll tell them, or if they schedule
Yeah.
a showing, I'll say, hey,
Right.
we actually are under contract. So I am that agent, and I apologize. Just make sure you call me or my assistant. Just
No,
make
these
sure,
are people
but
who are
that's
out of
part
due
of-
diligence.
Yeah,
So-
more than 1 days.
Real quick,
To be honest.
real quick, and I know everybody does it, but please, if you go see a property,
Yes, thank
leave
you.
feedback. There's nothing more frustrating
Yeah.
than when you call, email, text, no response, call. Even if you don't remember the prop, I mean,
Tell them that.
What I do is I text the agent 1 or 2 photos, like the kitchen or something memorable about that house.
but it just.
So then say, can you send me some feedback on this house you showed Saturday? Here's one picture of the
Yeah.
kitchen. Because I don't remember all of them if I show a
Right.
ton.
Right, but please,
I like that.
take, if you show on Saturday and Sunday, take time and.
Just consider that part of your job as a professional.
Just-
You know, do you guys get a lot of showings from Redfin agents? Like, they're, part of it is painful with their showings, but the good thing that they do that I've noticed is that I've gotten recently in the last 6 months is they actually are texting me the feedback when they're leaving the listings, and then
nice.
they keep it going. So then it's like, you know, at least it's off your plate at that point in time. And that way our buyers, like, I'm getting feedback from them, like, hey, you know, I really need the feedback so I can share with them. Gives you a chance to get a little bit more in-depth conversation of why they're rejecting it so you understand the other homes. Because that forces you to get feedback directly from your buyer. I just need to let the agent know really quickly, like, why we're not choosing this house.
Yeah.
And we
Or
can,
if we are considering it. So that gives me a second to wrap it up as I go, or if we're driving separately, that it gives me a moment to get situated. I need a moment to, like, mentally process what happened before I pull out of that driveway. So it gives me that minute, and, you know, the buyer is in essence giving me permission to not just bolt to the next house. Because you move so quickly that you miss cues from your clients. So that gives you a reason that you're having to ask your client, especially the ones that are like, we just don't like it. Well, why not? So that I don't keep showing you that we don't like it houses. And that's like a chance to do that.
that is,
And
so
that
I
thing
think
is really great about it.
opportunity for relationship building. And I know many of us and other agents use the auto feedback forms, either from Showing Time or Super or whatever. And maybe, I feel like we're, maybe need to move away from that. That because.
They're not that specific. They
Yeah, they
change
just
them.
ask you a few
You can
questions,
change
but also sometimes when we do open houses, I'll invite other agents to come and videotape them giving the seller feedback on the property. So they're not hearing it from us, they're actually hearing it from other agents and their clients. And so you also may want to get the buyer to sign a waiver, since you're videotaping them, that it's okay for you to do that as well.
Okay, all right, y'all, Tasha, and that's,
I'd
we're
like
going.
to piggyback on what Michelle said. Phil mentioned it first. I'm a newer, I'm doing more listings than I used to do. So
Traditionally,
I'm
the
gonna
buyers.
say I'm new. But I work a lot with buyers, so I have that vantage point to be able to sell to my sellers. What I did on a listing that I was not necessarily the expert in the area, I invited a local expert who actually is a peer of mine in the industry. And I had them walk the house with me, and the seller was there. And they gave their feedback based on the market in that local area. So it was a third-party edification of what I'd already told them. So when we go 30 days, the expert in the area had already told us it's taken 2 months for homes to move, and we should still stick to our price. So it was
Wow.
edification of what I had already told my client, so they're not anxious if they're not getting that. But it was just that extra step because I wanted to make sure my client was gonna win. So,
Love it.
I mean, I do it all the time. I'll like email Bob, like if I have questions about Dunwoody, and you know, like I think that's the key, is knowing who kind of really works what areas and sending them the listings. Because not everybody's gonna walk through your listing, but for them to look, like I'll send Terry Fry a message and she'll be like, oh, you need to XYZ, and I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that.
Yes, yeah. Okay, y'all, I want to thank these folks. Thank you very much. Do you all, I mean, I thought this was valuable. Did y'all, it was very quiet, so I figured. All right, yes, I need Drew, the chef, to come forward and tell us about your skills.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
Drew Isles with House Call, one of our preferred home inspector vendors. Yay!
Okay, hopefully you enjoyed the breakfast. I do cook my own stuff because you're very welcome. 4 kids, you learn to cook real fast. So, anyway, so I'll be real quick. I know you guys got lots of things to do. First off, we cover the entire state. There isn't anywhere I won't go. Somebody called me about going to Athens. Wherever you want me to go, we're going to go. And there's no extra charge for that. I know inspectors that charge to go to Ackworth. No. So wherever you need us to go, we're going to go. Because I know you guys are pretty much sticking to your areas anyway. So that's not going to make much of a difference. Our rates are right here in my brochure. Keep your brochure. If you need me to send it to you in a PDF or something like that on your phone or an email or something, let me know. I'd be happy to send it to you. That way you can kind of give your idea, your buyer, what it's going to cost. Okay? There's very good information about here also for your buyer to read on what we cover. We still climb on the roof if we can. If it's too steep pitch that you look at it when you've been there and you say, yeesh, go ahead and call a roofer, because we're going to say the same thing. We're not going to get on a roof that's going to cause any harm to us. Okay? We try and do whatever I can. If it's a bad one, give me a call and I'll go out there myself if I have to. but I always try and get on the roof if I can. Okay. We still go into crawl space. You can see my nice lovely jeans have crawl space stains. Okay, so we still do that. Okay, we go in there, we check off the foundation. We do termite inspections, free mold inspection with all of our inspections. Okay. Now, if you need a termite letter for the loan, you're gonna have to call pest control. We are not licensed in the state of Georgia to do pest control. So we can tell you if it's there or any prior damage, things like that. We'll let you know. Okay. As far as testing, you got an older home, you may have lead, asbestos, things like that. We can test for that. Water, if you're way out in the farm somewhere, we need to do a water well. A lot of VA loans now requiring you do a water test, to be prepared for that. It's about a couple $100. So just be prepared for those kind of tests. If I find it, I'll let you know. Okay. If we don't find it, you don't need to test for it. Mold, same thing. Unless you've got a buyer that is very sensitive to air, asthmatic folks, things like that, anything like that, then maybe you want to try and look at getting a mold test. Because you and I go in there and not have a thing wrong with it, and I don't find anything, but they're still going to be prone to stuff that's in there. Okay? Mold's everywhere. You cannot get rid of it. And there's 3 testings that you have to do. And again, you have to talk to a mold expert, but they do a sample. Outside is the basis. They're going to do one inside, wherever you need it, and another one inside. That's usually $150 per test. So it's expensive. So let me get in there first. Okay? Radon. I can't tell you all enough. Please get your buyers to do a radon test. It's $199. It's not worth the risk. Okay? It's very expensive to get that stuff covered. Okay? You have a crawl space that has radon, 10 grand probably minimum. It's expensive. For $200 in the investment they're making, it's not worth it. Also, I send out, when you guys contract with me, we send out automatically on their inspection details box. They're going to get an email from us. They can pay right there and do everything electronically now. It's going to have radon in there. I want them to either say, yes, I want it, or no, I don't. Okay? That takes all the legality off of me and you. Okay? Make them say, no, I don't want it. Because when it comes 10 years down the road, and we've got somebody that's got lung cancer, guess who they're going to come get? You and me. We're not telling them.
Leading cause of
Lung cancer.
non-smoker lung cancer.
That's correct.
Right on.
And it's in 30% of the houses I test. I do 1,500 tests a year. 30% of them have high levels. 0 to 4 is acceptable. Anything over 4 is not. And I've heard through the little grapevine, the little bird, that's actually going to be lowered down to 2.
Wow. That's where it is in Europe. A lot of Europe is slower.
It's going. I'm telling you, it's coming this way. And if it goes to 2, there's not a house I tested that doesn't have radon in it. Not one.
Well, the outside air has radon.
Talk about your pipe inspections and
pipe inspections. We right now we're going to be subbing that out right now. I'm actually being trained to do that as we speak. So that will be something that we're going to also cover. I always recommend that if you've got trees in the front yard, more than likely you've got a root going through there. Now we do is inspect
pipes to the street.
Pipes to the street, right? We do inspect as much as we can. I turn on all the water. I flush all the toilets. But there's a 4-inch line from here to the back of that office that goes to the street. That's got to be filled with water first. Then it's going to back up into the house at the lowest toilet or in the crawl space. We try and find it, but I can't guarantee by that test that we're going to be able to see that. Or it could be a slow, what they call a slow drain clog. Okay, there's something stuck in there that just needs, it's draining, but slowly. Okay, those kind of things we can't check, but we will with a video pipe inspection. And I always recommend it with trees in the front yard, big ones. Okay, and you can walk at the house and see, yeah, you probably need to do this. It's a couple $100. Okay, again, it's minimal amount of money for the price that they're inspecting for, they're paying for that house. Okay, let's see what else in here. I think that's about it for that. You know, like I said, we're a great company. We've done a lot of business with you all. Thank you very much for that. Every single year I've increased my revenues, all because of you all. And one of my biggest offices is the Rawls Group. So thank you very much for that. My children certainly appreciate it too.
It's your breakfast.
The food.
3 in college and 1 in military school. It starts to bite on you. So, any other questions for me? Pretty straightforward.
Thank you.
One last thing is we are, and I think I've said this a few times, we're going to be doing a webinar every second Tuesday of the month for just a little information, half an hour. If you sign up and go online to do it, we're going to try and do some at the lunch here at the offices. We'll provide lunch. But if you want to go online anywhere you are on your phone, it's just an informational half an hour. It's not a CE or anything like that. It's just information. Okay? We could do roofs. We could do plumbing. We could do, how to run our software now. I hope for those of you who've used us, we use brand new software now. It's very easy to use. And it's great. We love it. And our inspections are done. As soon as we're done with the inspection, we're done with our report. You have it in your email. Okay? And then also, we're giving away 60 cabins on a cruise. We do it every year. If you win one this year and you can't go on it this year, you can hold it till next year. Okay? So every year we're giving away 60 cabins. So we got a lot of fun things going on too. So anyway, any questions for me? If you've got questions down the road, certainly give me a call. I even have agents call me and say, Drew, can you look at my listing? I got a report and I don't understand it. Send me the report. I'll look at it for you. Not a problem. Whatever help I can give you all to make that deal work, let me know. Okay. Thank you,
Drew. All right. We're going to talk mobile property search app, and this is our last topic. Before, I don't think we have any heroines, but you may have seen this before, but Family Reunion is a month away, and we are expecting that the new KW consumer app, consumer search app or whatever they're calling it, is going to be released at Family Reunion. That's not a promise. It could slip if it's not ready. It is going to be a game changer. Gary is jumping out of his skin about it. He's so excited. And it's been beta tested by the employees at Google, and they think it's the best thing that's ever been out there. This video is many months old, so it will be even better than this. But I'm going to challenge you after we just watch this again. Challenge
One
you.
question, this will replace the other application, KW?
Yep. Yep. I'll go over that as soon as we finish. Let her rip, Allison. Can you? Yeah. Okay. Everybody pull up your current mobile app. And everybody better have it. I want everybody to see their own name at the bottom. Virginia. Lord. All right. This is not the future. However, hey Randy. This is not awesome. However, I don't want us to wait until the awesome arrives and be scrambling to share. So I have a challenge. Keller Williams tracks exactly how many downloads of your app that have already happened, of this app. Okay? isn't it true, Allison, that Cynthia Pierce is the leader in our office so far?
She was the last time I checked, yes.
Right. So we know exactly how many people you've shared your app with, and they've downloaded it. We're going to take a snapshot of today. So we got 4 weeks until family reunion, and I want to measure and have some incentive to sharing your app. And right now, we're not trying to do a sales job of, oh, I want you to use my app and don't use Zillow. And this is just with your spheres, and I'm envisioning, Dominique, some social media posts. You can do a contest if you want. You can tell them you're going to share it. Right on the homepage, there's a share app, and you can text it, whatever. But here's the message. As soon as you've downloaded my app and you can see my name, that's kind of the proof, tap on the contact agent square and either email or text you back. I have, go ahead and tap one of them, and you'll see that the app creates a communication back to you for your proof. So we're not necessarily trying to get them all to use the app. We're trying to get it in their phone, okay? Because when the magic happens, it'll be automatically updated in the cloud. So I don't have permission to offer this, but I'm going out on a limb, and anybody that can get 100 downloads between now and family reunion, we're going to offer half of an office bill off. Okay? Again, I'm just, Brad, sorry, got to do it.
Approved.
Yeah, Allison approved it. And this is, multiple people can do this. This is not just the first person to get 100. So over, how easy is this? You just,
I have a question.
Lay it
When
on
you
me.
say it automatically updates in the cloud, is that for iPhone users or also for
not positive, but would assume.
all phones?
Yeah. So right, it's that the software of the app itself is what's going to update. But very valid question. So anybody that, how easy is this? You just, as you're talking to people, hey, I'm going to share my mobile app. We have a contest in my office going on, and don't tell them what you're getting off, but you download it and then tap the contact agent button so I know that you've got it. And I don't have a whole dialogue here. So 100 by family reunion. Well, I'll say by Valentine's Day is the day Terry and I are going to family
Valentine's
reunion.
Day.
Yeah,
We're having a day on Valentine's
Now,
Day.
I will tell you, other agents have done this. They've done a post on social media saying, "Hey, I've got a mobile app and I'm doing a raffle of people have done it when Yeti coolers first came out, and they said, I'm doing a drawing for a Yeti cooler. If you download my mobile app and do the contact agent, so as the proof, you'll be entered into my drawing for so a Yeti cooler in January is probably not a big draw. Think of something else that would be worth $100 to $200 investment on your part to get your branded mobile app on, oh my goodness. Talk about touching, branding, easy peasy, something to talk about. And even if people aren't in the market, they'll do it for you if they're your friends, So we're,
And you said it'll automatically give them the new one in 4 weeks.
okay, when they update,
When
I
they
didn't
update,
promise the
okay.
4 weeks.
Not
but-
when they update it, it will
Correct, it will be
automatically.
automatically. They don't have to do anything else.
Because that's, I'm afraid of,
Right. Now, nobody wants to create a hassle, Brendan! Extra steps. So, anybody want to tell me about new listings? And then we're going to go.
I have a new listing going in Thursday. It's in Marietta, East Cobb, Powers Ferry Road, 4-bedroom home, new kitchen, new flooring, new roof, really pretty, $319. I think it's going to go pretty fast, so they're also going to need somewhere to move. So if you have any suggestions under
Cool.
$350, let me know.
All right, Susan.
I've got a house on Haven Brook Way in, off of Osborne in Brookhaven coming up on Thursday. It'll be $450. It's been updated, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, which is hard to find in Brookhaven at that price.
What was the price?
$450.
Okay, cool. Renita and then Jeannie.
I have an investment property in Marlboro. It's a 3-1. It's well maintained, already move-in ready, and it's for 107.
Okay, I know we have investors here. Jeannie.
So I have a 5-bedroom, 3-bath coming up in Lilburn. Hopefully, if it's sunny on Friday, we'll do the photos. It's 10 years old. It's been well maintained, and it just got a new roof because it had the what are the shingles that had to be replaced? It had Atlas shingles. So it's got a roof that's only a year old.
Cool.
$419, and it's in Parkview High School. If someone wants to see it ahead of time, I can even arrange that.
Did their insurance company pay for the roof?
Yes.
Good job.
Cool. Okay. You have another listing?
No, I'm so sorry. I have open house opportunities for all 3 listings that I have right now. So if you need that, come see me.
New agents?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah. No. Not. You need to communicate in writing. Text her, or get with her after the meeting. So after this class, we have Kevin coming from FMLS to teach a Remind class. It's free CE. We already have a bunch of people that have signed up, but we're not oversubscribed. Free CE. So Remind is a tool that comes through FMLS, and it's a search tool, and it gives you way cooler, even cooler stuff than Matrix. Thank you, Gigi. Have you used Remind? Say something positive about it, please.
Show me all the houses in East Cobb that have been owned by the same owner for 20 years and their mortgage is paid off right now. Because I'd like to get their name, address, and be able to prospect them.
Oh, wow.
Anybody want more?
So woo. Okay, that's really cool. As I've said it before, anybody is welcome to sit in on Ignite classes whenever they take place. We have awesome instructors. Bill is teaching tomorrow on marketing your listings, and John Hahn from the Bolt Group is doing pricing, my fear, on and CMAs on Thursday. Who all is taking Bold? Is taking Bold this time? All righty. First step to Bold, I just want to reiterate, is free. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, $800, I can't do it this time, but I might want to do it in the future, you're welcome to come to First Step on Friday and check it out. So don't diss it if, just because you don't have the money right now.
It's at City Springs.
Yes, it's at City Springs, and that's about it. Okay. Thanks, guys. I'd love for lots of folks to stay. And I look forward to reading all of your...
Okay, I'll tell you.